Good afternoon. I had the opportunity to interview actor Rick Korndorfer for the play 12 Angry Men. It was produced in January 2016 at the Old Town Playhouse in Traverse City, Michigan. There have been 187,854 video views on the YouTube seen since the year of 2016 on the whole documentary video. And it was a masterpiece of theater. And actor Rick Korndorfer was absolutely wonderful by making everything real for the audience.
As an actor, when auditioning for a classic play, such as 12 Angry Men, on reading it, you find that there are certain roles that an actor would feel particularly challenged by or want to try out for. And in this play, I think that most of us would agree that juror number 8 is the fulcrum, I think I may have said that before, upon which the fortunes of the play revolve. And the gentleman who auditioned for this part, although he did tell me he would have taken any role that was offered him, and I think the rest of us would agree with that. Number 8 was the role that he coincidentally had played 25 years ago in his first ever audition for a theater piece here at the Playhouse, or anywhere else for that matter. And he got the role of number 8 back then, and he was awarded the role of number 8 again this time. And I don't think that's an accident. I'm talking about Rick Korndorfer. Rick Korndorfer is a friend of mine and a veteran actor here. As I said, we're talking 25 years just here at the Playhouse. And an excellent actor, and someone whose own personality, I think, befits the character that he plays in this show. But before talking about him any further, I think that Rick can probably acquit himself much better than I could say anything about him. So why don't we hear from Rick?
Well, my name is Rick Korndorfer, and I am in the play 12 Angry Men here in Traverse City, Michigan in January of 2016. I came to be in the play kind of happenstance. I was, there was another play that was going to be, is being produced about the same exact time in a small town north of here, about 30 miles, and I've worked with that director before, and they were doing a Ken Ludwig piece, and I've been in several of Ken Ludwig plays, Moon Over Buffalo and Lend Me a Tenor and Leading Ladies and a few other ones, and I like him because he's a comedic writer. In fact, I think he's the finest comedic writer, playwright alive, and so I kind of wanted to do that, and I had read the play. And then I realized that this play was also going to be happening at the same time. And the director asked me to read for this. And so I thought, well, I need to read both plays. So I did. And after I read them, I realized that I need to audition for this show. And so I did, and I was fortunate that I got cast as juror number 8. I did not anticipate that, to be honest with you. I traditionally get cast as more of a character type. I don't usually get the lead, if there is such a thing. Probably juror number 8 would be somewhat of a lead in this play because he has the brunt of the work as far as the lines, and he's the one character that sways the other 11 that there is reasonable doubt, and then we find the defendant innocent in the end.
The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Here are the L tracks. This is the bedroom, another bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen. And here's the hall. And this is the front door to the apartment, and here are the stairs. Now, the old man was in bed in this room. He said he got up, went out into the hall, down the hall to the front door, opened it, and looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right so far?
That's the story for the 19th time.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall. His bed was at the window. It's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet 6 inches. Now, he had to get up out of bed, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, open the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think he could have done it?
Sure he could have
He
done it.
could only walk very slowly. He needed help just to get to the
Look,
victim's
you're making
stand.
it sound like it's a long walk. It's not.
What, for an old man that's just had a stroke?
So I went to auditions, and it was a 2 night of auditions, and I never read juror number 8, I never read juror number 4, I never read juror number 7, and I'm not even sure if I read number 3, but those were, you know, the real meaty characters in my opinion. All of them are, you know, delicious characters, but those were the ones that were real interesting. And so I sent an email to the director and I asked, I said, is there any way I could read 8 and 7 and 10 and 3 the next night if I come back? She says, yes, come back and read again. So I did. And I got lucky and I got cast as juror number 8. So then I started to work on my lines, and that has been, somewhat challenging because I have to know the entire play. I cannot just learn a passage that I'm in and then I don't say anything for 4 or 5 pages. This particular character has lines throughout the play, and some passages are heavy with lines, and then there might only be 1 or 2 lines on another page. But I have to know what everyone is doing all the time to be able to play my character, because my character is kind of the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak. He's the one that is focused on all 11 other characters. He doesn't come in with a preconceived notion that he's guilty. He just doesn't know. He just wants to talk about it. So he gets started in that frame of mind, and the play evolves from there.
I was wondering how clearly the old man could have heard the boy through the ceiling.
He didn't hear him through the ceiling. His window was open, and so was the window upstairs. It was a hot night, remember?
The voice came from another apartment. It's not easy to identify a voice, especially a shouting.
He identified it in court. He picked the boy's voice out of 5 other voices, blindfold.
That was nothing more than an ambitious district attorney putting on a show.
As you probably already know, it's a beautifully written play. It's just an absolutely beautifully written play, and it's just so interesting how this particular person, this juror number 8, has some doubts, and he is able to slowly influence other jurors over to his thinking. And then, of course, by the end of the play, it's a dramatic scene with the last few people coming around.
I guess there's no argument.
Wait a minute. Give me that bit.
These things. Grew up with them.
Have you seen them used in fights?
Too many of them. On my stoop, in my backyard, in the lot across the street. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny I wasn't thinking of it. I guess you try to forget those things. You don't hold this kind of knife like that. You hold it like this to release the blade. In order to stab downward, you'd have to switch your grip.
How do you use it?
Underhanded. Like this.
Oh, huh?
Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would never handle it any other way.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. That's why they're made like this.
Everyone agreed that the boy was pretty handy with a knife, didn't they?
That's right.
Do you think he would have made the kind of stab wound that killed his father?
No, not with the experience he had with these things. I don't think he would. He'd go for him underhanded.
How do you know? Were you in the room when the father was killed?
No, and neither was anyone else.
And you're giving us a lot of mumbo-jumbo here. I don't believe it.
I don't think you can determine what kind of wound the boy might or might not have made simply because he knows how to handle a knife.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
Down and in.
I don't know.
What about you?
I know. Just a minute. According to the woman across the street, she's... Oh, listen. I'll tell you something here. I'm getting a little tired of this whole thing. I mean, all this yakking's getting us nowhere. So I'm going to break it up here. I'm changing my vote to not guilty.
Hey,
Hey, you heard me. I've had enough.
What do you mean you've had enough? That's not an
Hey,
answer.
listen, you just take care of yourself.
Try to take care of business.
That is not an answer. What kind of man are you? You have sat here and voted with the others, voted guilty because there are some baseball tickets burning a hole in your pocket, and now you have changed your vote because you say you are tired of all the talking here?
Now listen,
You have no right to play like this with a man's life. It is a terrible and ugly thing to do. Don't you care?
Well, wait a minute. you can't talk like
I
that.
can't talk like that to you. If you have to vote not guilty, then vote that way because you are convinced he is not guilty, not because you had enough. And if you think he is guilty, then vote that way, or don't you have the guts to do what you think is right?
Now listen.
Guilty or not guilty?
I told you, not guilty.
Why?
And goddamn you, I don't have to.
No, you don't have to. Say it. Why?
I don't think he's guilty.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like another vote.
There's another vote called for it. Anybody object? All right, I guess the quickest way is show of hands. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's such a beautiful play. It's so telling about our society and our system of government and our system of justice. And really, one of the most interesting things, and this director has done such a beautiful job, that there are 12 real distinct characters in this show. No two characters are alike, in my opinion. I know we have the bigots and the bullies and the racist, and you can say, well, they're similar, and they are somewhat, but they're all different, and they all have different reasons to find the defendant guilty, and the accused guilty, I should say. And it's just the most fantastic piece of writing. I can't say enough about it. My character is, I don't want to repeat myself, but my character is somewhat of a challenge for me personally because he is what I call the straight man. And I usually don't get to play the straight man. I play a more of an unusual character. And so this guy is the voice of reason and logic, and he's extremely thoughtful and very intelligent, and he doesn't get caught up in the emotion as much as the others. That's not to say that he's not emotional, because I think he is. But he doesn't let it get in the way of his mindset, of his ability to think. And it's been real fun for me to try to find him and to bring him to life. And I feel like I have now. I feel real good about what I'm doing with him, and I'm having a lot of fun with him because of that. I would like to say a little bit about the play process itself. I was in one play one time that I absolutely loved the way it was structured, because we went to auditions, we got cast. The play was a George Bernard Shaw piece called Overruled, and it got cast, and the director gave us our scripts and said, "I'll see you in a month, come back off book." And I must say, that was the most rewarding experience for me as a community player, because I did my work, and I came back, and I was, for the most part, 90% off book. And so we started rehearsing. We started blocking and running our lines at the same time. Normally what happens is what happens in this show. You get cast, come Monday, we start rehearsing, we're all standing up there with a script in our hand, we got our nose in the script, we're trying to read the lines, we're trying to get through the blocking, we're trying to develop a character, and it's very difficult. But I think, particularly as we age, if we do have those extra weeks where we know who our character is, we know what the script is, and we can just do our work on our own, and then when we come together to rehearse, it makes the process that much more enjoyable for me personally, because I think we get more done at a faster pace. This play was rewarding for me because of the play and the people that are in it, who I have become very close to. Many of them I knew before, but there's new ones, and I like all of them. But we ended up going through a period in this play where we didn't rehearse for 2 weeks in the middle of the rehearsal schedule because of the Christmas break. And I think that that was difficult for us. It was difficult for me. I kept doing my work at home. But when you're not hearing the other players deliver their lines, you lose something in the translation. And so I think it hurt us that we had that 2-week period off, and then we came back, we had 2 more weeks, and then we opened the show. That just was the way it worked out because of the holidays. That was what it was. But that concept of getting the script first, getting your lines, and then coming into rehearsal, I find that very rewarding, and I would like to see our theater do more of that, actually.